So on today's episode, what's the memory or moment you would want to talk about?
Yeah. So the memory I want to talk about is my memory of getting accepted and attending Emerson College.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I'm from Boston, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a college, and I'm an actor, so the school is really big for acting and for drama. And
Mm-hmm.
my older brother, who was a lot smarter than me in school, he had like high honors in high school. He applied to Emerson. He didn't end up going. I don't know if he didn't get in or something happened. So for
All right.
me, I graduated high school with a 1.67 GPA. So it was like
Wow.
super
Wait,
low.
time out.
I
Time
went
out.
to I went to Bunker Hill.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I went into the trades actually, and then I went to Bunker Hill for theater. Got my
Uh-huh.
GPA together, and then I was like, let me I should apply to Emerson. I talked to a friend. She gave me some advice. I was like, let me apply to Emerson for what I want to do. But when I got in there, I got in, got accepted, everything. But it was a huge culture shock for me. So I
Mm.
started to feel like what do they call imposter syndrome. So I felt like
Like you
I
don't
should not
belong.
have been there. So I started to
Yeah.
struggle like inside myself. It came out of nowhere. So yeah, that's the
Okay.
memory of getting accepted and
All
then
right.
struggling with
Okay.
imposter syndrome at Emerson College in my own city.
Got you. All right. So I feel like there's a few things we can talk about there. So let's go back before we get to Emerson. You said your GPA in high school was what?
It was a 1.67 when I graduated.
Okay. All right. So because a reason why I asked is I'm a big advocate, or not even advocate, because it's not like I actively do things to get this change, but I strongly believe the school system at all levels is broken in this country. So
Right.
what contributed to that? Was it just your own fault, or is just school wasn't a thing for you? What contributed to that 1.75?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I think it was my just my own emotional state. Like at that time, I'm in high school, and when I was finishing middle school, my mother told me like basically my dad was my stepdad. So I go through this
Wait.
like, yeah, and I'm 12 years old when this happened. So
Wow.
I went through this kind of period of like of just like identity crisis, I guess you would call it,
Mm.
and I'm just like kind of like detached. It became hard for me to focus on schoolwork for on things that I had to do, like academically. But I used to be great in class. I was still participating in class. I'm talking, I'm communicating. So I'm doing well with the teachers on a
Mm-hmm.
relationship level. But when it comes to my academics, going home and doing homework, I struggled really hard to get
Yeah.
work done, to turn in assignments. I was doing things at the last minute. And, but I was still performing like as I guess, a respectable student, a leader in the school. So it was really,
Mm-hmm.
it was a strange place. But I think it was those emotional struggles and just like my inability to focus at the
Mm.
time.
Yeah, and I can see it. Even though if you're dealing with something like that at that age, it's kind of hard to prioritize school. Like you're a kid. It's like
Right.
I don't feel like school
Right.
takes that important. All the adults in your life preach it. They're like, hey, go to school, good grades, blah
Right.
blah
Right.
blah. But like it's easier said than done. So I can see
Right. It's like how to actually do it.
right
And
when
then
you have all this stuff you care about.
right. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that I had ADHD as well. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But when I was in elementary school, um, I again I had this struggle to focus. I'm always tapping pencils and doing stuff. The teachers are always calling my name, but I wasn't labeled
Mm-hmm.
as a bad kid. I'm still, again, communicating in class, doing well in class, on a relationship level. I wrote this book, in second or third grade called Ants in My Pants. Little did I know I was talking about my own struggle, but, the teachers kept saying I had ants in my pants. So I wrote a book about it. The teachers loved it. They started talking about the book, and, but apparently I knew something without really knowing something at that age. So
Mm.
I wrote a book about the ADHD struggle, but I didn't find out that I actually had that until 2020, like 3 years ago.
Wow,
So I
dude.
found out, yeah.
That is crazy. So you just knew all along. You just couldn't put the official words to it,
Right,
like the terms to it.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go to Emerson now. So you're in
Yep.
Emerson. You're dealing with this imposter syndrome. What? I guess not what triggers it, but like what made you first realize like, all right, something's off. Like what was like the first time, if you remember, like I don't feel like I belong here?
Yeah, the first moment I'll never forget, it was when I may have been the first day or the first week of school. And when I go to Emerson, I'm 25 because after high school
Yeah,
I
you
went
went
to
to
the
community
trade.
college and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did the trade.
Mm-hmm.
I did trade school. I worked in the trades for like 2 years. I went to community college, and then when I finally get to Emerson, I'm 25 years old. I'm basically a junior at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in the library, and the school's predominantly white. You know, the school's predominantly white, and it's me being from Boston. My dad's a ranger so he's working in all the parks. He's a lieutenant for the Boston Park Rangers. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
growing up in that area downtown. But to be
Right.
in the building, inside the building, and it's like, of course, it's college, so you got students coming from everywhere. It's predominantly white, and I just remember, like, I might have been the only black person in the library, but I could not have been it, but it may have just felt like I was.
You felt
And I
like
just
it,
remember people
100%.
just looking at me. It wasn't like it didn't make me. It wasn't evil or out of anger or malice. It was just like, oh wow, like it felt like wow, like a black guy's here, you know.
Progressive.
And I felt like right, and so I'm just in there like. Okay, like whoa, like I just remember just feeling all those eyes on me, and really feeling like I don't even know what to do right now, you know. So
Right.
just that
Right.
struggle, like wow, I'm in this. The last college experience I had before that was Bunker Hill, where it's super diverse. So it just kind of hit me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So while in the thick of it, in the thick of Emerson, so you're in there, and you went for the arts, right? That's what you said.
Yes, sir. For, theater and
So
performance.
so especially in theater, you're an actor, like you kind of have to, not kind of, you 100% got to put yourself in like different roles, different situations, kind of not be yourself sometimes, be yourself sometimes. So how did that feeling of imposter syndrome affect your arts? Was it like, did it affect your classes at all, or did you notice it in your performance, or was it like a form of escape from it, or you know?
It did affect my art and me as an actor because
Mm-hmm.
most of the training that I got in acting was from like older black people, just one would say like in the hood, just in Boston, in Roxbury, in Dorchester, and they're just older theater people who are just like giving us theater, giving us this art, and a lot of them have worked with a lot of other black companies. So most of my art training was from other black people, older black folks in
Mm-hmm.
Boston, and so this is the first time I'm being trained by a lot of white staff and a lot of white instructors, and I have a lot of white like fellow actors or people that I'm meeting. So it felt new for me to like. I felt in a way like too black, and it's not
Mm.
not
Yeah, I know what you mean.
outside of being proud. Like I'm definitely proud, definitely for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but felt like this is my style of my delivery in this art is different than everyone else in this room. So I'm
Right.
like, it brought up thoughts to me that I never really thought about before. Like, am I doing this right? So maybe kind of second guess everything that I've been trained, everything that I was doing, and then and yeah, just having like missing pieces in myself. Yeah. So yeah, I struggled. I had to start to look at things differently. So I needed some help with that.
Got you. Okay. Now, while you're doing your classes and stuff, because like, especially in America, I feel like black people as a whole, we kind of have this natural inkling to stick together. You go somewhere unfamiliar, you see a black people, either you give them the head nod, or you hang, the head, you got the nod, or you go hang out if you like get to know them a little bit more. But like,
Right.
So while in classes, was it something like, it's just me on this island, or did you have like, fellow black people you could lean on, or like form like a little camaraderie with? Like, how was that?
Yeah. It took a while, but that eventually happened. There were
Mm-hmm.
some other black students, but again, like, then there's the thing of me being 25, so, most of the ones coming in who I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking those first round of classes with, they're 18, 19, 20. And so then there was like the age gap, but yeah, but then one day, there were some older students. Some were grad students. Some were like were getting ready to graduate from their undergrad. And I met one in the library. One guy, he was actually from Boston, and so we had
Mm-hmm.
that Boston connection as well. Like it felt like, yo,
Gotcha.
you made it too, my brother. You made it too. You made it too. And those guys were doing film, and they introduced me to actually a black guy who worked in one of the student affairs offices, and he was able to be a big connection. So I started meeting some other black students. So that did help me feel more comfortable, and they were able to just talk about those same struggles that we both had. Coming from the city, we felt like we about to go to college on our home turf, and it felt like a completely different situation than we expected.
That's a good point, and it's probably a situation where I just thought of this. Is like they're probably dealing with the same shit you're dealing with too. You know what I mean? It's like It's just maybe like not as severe or a little bit milder or whatever, but they probably had the same questions, the same feelings. So okay, that's a good point.